Key, stay the fuck away from thee. There is no befriending me. I'm more than your enemy. Consumed by darkness, you see. I made you show your identity when you thought I was nothing that can never be. It's scratching at the door, should I let it free? A crazy slip of insanity. Never ask what they did to thee. Are you glad you awoke it in me? Carry on repeating your history. We've met before, you see. Told you I never set his daddy free. To give some context into this rap, most of it's going on about this life, but some of it, the last few lines, actually touches up on some strange dreams I had when I was a kid, and I never shared it with anyone, but pretty sure that those that knew me back then that were around me would have noticed a change after those dreams. Because obviously when I was born, I carried over some of my natural evil intent, similar to what you have, Kieran, and you, Sarah. You know, where you had that overwhelming desire to inflict suffering, pain and misery on others to make yourself feel better about your own worthless existence. I was like that once. I can read every fucking move you make. Every one. Because you see, Key, I was the one that sent you running. You were right for it. I remember. You had the same abilities that your sister has in this life. He was gifted at that. He could analyse a situation and perform it at a higher degree. Card sharking. Or card counting. Ball sharking. He was good at all that. It's what people used to like about it. But it was a fruitcake. He could be your best mate 1 minute, trying to kill you the next. And the wrong word, I set him off. And he wouldn't be trying to hurt you, threaten you, intimidate you, or beat you. He was trying to kill you. Paul, I think, has a few memories of him back in the day. Paul doesn't know. His Ray was on the run. After he battered his missus, the mother of the half-sister, Paul never knew he had. I wasn't 100% sure about that till I researched it. Grandad dropped the hint. I thought he was on about maybe one of his siblings or something like that. Back then it was different times. Back then, you rarely saw a black person. Make sure you're in by 8 o'clock, or a black man will come walking down the road and take you away. It was different times. It was going on about Jade. Their cousin's cousin dating a black lad. So technically, you're right, it's a black. She can say the N-word. Judge, you say that fucking word, I swear to God, I'll fucking kill you. You'll get us killed for that, you stupid prick. But yeah, me and Grandad had a bit of an argument about that. Told him that just because I'm going out with a black lad doesn't mean I'm going to settle down with him and have kids. And even if it does, we're not genetically related. And that's when Grandad went off on one. Yeah. Well, you are related to blacks, you know. There are people that settle down and have kids with blacks in the family. Something along those lines. And I was like, you what? Alright then, eh? But he wouldn't tell me. The next hint about that came from Paul. When he mentioned Ray's name, that let me know where to look when I was astral projecting. I did some research into it. He did end up in a lunatic asylum. Not just voluntary or forced. He pleaded insanity. He was gonna go to prison for what he'd done. That's why he went on the run. He begged to have a chance to get to know his son. And he swore he'd keep his mouth shut. Of course he lied. Paulina's dad. The baby. I remember back as a kid. I had that dream, like I lived my great-granddad's life. I had to watch her die, and I hated Joyce for that. Part of me even blamed her. That was the baby that in this life was born with the same genetic condition I have. She would have been my auntie. She had Cameron's tenacious personality and character traits, the desire to protect and rewrite some wrongs. You'll see the same in Alicia as she grows, though you most likely already have. She never got to live long enough to show him, but you could sense it. Just like with Paul, you could sense evil intent. You could feel it. Back in that life, from what I can remember, combined with what some people have told me, I was raised around hate. Highly racist. I was about 7 foot, 7'2", 7'4", something like that. White. I was a tobacco chewer, pipe user from what I saw in the dreams. Always at the pub, grumpy old man, looking for any excuse to lash out. I've actually written a little rap and a poem about it. The poem, I've started making that years and years ago. I had it all saved on my Samsung notes. Recently I put it on my drive, which actually goes through some of the dreams I had back when I was a kid. One of the reasons why I treated my brother differently growing up. Otherwise I would have been exactly the way I naturally was. Inconsiderate, didn't give a fuck. Because back in that life I didn't feel guilt. Whereas in this life I can't help but feel guilt. You know what I mean? Like, I sneaked downstairs to go and get a piece of bread and I had to bring my brother one back, otherwise I feel guilty. Didn't like that feeling. Back in that life, I didn't even know what guilt felt like. I refused to feel. After my death, there was an entity. I'm positive it was Paulina. She was the one that made me see the horrors of what I'd done in that life. How by living with hate and refusing to feel would only pass it on. I remember warning Joyce when she tried to replace Paulina with Paul. It would only bring her more suffering than she could imagine. Turned out I found out in this life, apparently. I was right. That's what the last 2 lines of this rap touch upon. I was the one that used to scare Ray off. Not that he was afraid, it was just consequences. That's why Nan was always moving. And that's why she was a bad mother. Because she was broken. Mentally. She was made to believe that she would not be able to cope or survive without her dad. That'd be my great-granddad. The life I have memories of. To the point where she believed it. Without question. Don't get me wrong, she hated her dad in the end. She had good reason to. It's why I've been trying to tell you, Kay and Sarah, time and time again, but you never listen. Do better than the last, because one day, the kids that you damage will be raising you. If your soul isn't compatible, or consciousness, you call it a soul, isn't compatible for a particular body, then it isn't compatible. You gain that compatibility when your bloodline mixes with other bloodlines. A lot of you on that side, you're inbreds. You just don't realise it. Dating, having kids with your ninth generation's brothers and sisters' kids. Passing on the same genetics you already have. Think about it. You think it's a coincidence that you were both white, your mother and your dad? You both share the blonde-haired genetic trait. Similar personalities, even identical eyes. How far back can you remember? That presence I felt from that entity, same presence I felt from Paulina. I felt it from Cameron. He wasn't bad like you lot tried to paint him out to be. He had extremely high positive intent. Self-sacrifice, not self-preservation. The desire to protect. But most importantly, the same thing Paulina wanted to do, but never got the chance to. Before her death at 9 months old, she even lost the strength to cry. They wanted to rewrite some wrongs. You actually pay attention, you'll see that in Alicia as she grows. She's the same consciousness. Just dreams and feelings that I felt throughout my life. I got a feeling, not 100% sure, but I got a feeling that Alicia's felt that too. Like she's known me before. Never been allowed to find out, check it out. But I got a feeling she's had that feeling. Anyways, that's what the last 2 lines of this refer to. If Ray's name had been on Paul's birth certificate, he would have been able to have got him out of there. But Paul never knew. Not for certain, and his name went on the birth certificate. Ray died in there. The same place you'll end up, Key. If if you don't learn to control your mind. It ain't a joke. One day, you'll end up beating your missus or your kids to death. You've already done it. In a different life. Don't know if you did it as Ray, or when you battered that mother of your kid. I ain't about Joyce. Ray was somebody Joyce cheated with. When her and Alan were in that off-and-on relationship. She pulled Ray back as a chance to try to replace Paulina. Ray would have thought that he had a chance of a relationship type thing, a second chance, but he didn't. She just used him. I got to meet your half-sister, Paul. She wouldn't know that. But man, her personality. Holy fuck. When I heard stories about her from a friend of mine who told me a bit about this woman, the only person that particular friend of mine is terrified of told me nothing else scares her. I'm like, really? She can't be that bad. Told me that she must have done something. She didn't say that she robbed her, but I think she did. And now every time that person sees her, boom, that's mine. Takes her phone off and walks off. And there ain't fuck all she can do about it. And I'm like, yeah, that's a holy trait. Definitely. Sure, she ain't related to Ray. And then I got to meet her. She's stubborn. She's got to be about 7 foot. And if not, she ain't far off it. But as stubborn as fuck. She's one of those ones that's like, you're complaining about a headache, having a headache, and she decides she's getting you an headache tablet. She's getting you an headache tablet. And there ain't nothing anyone can say or do about it. When she's made her mind up, that's it. And then she'll drag you to her property, searching around for headache tablets or whatnot. If you can't find none, then send you off somewhere else. Tell her I sent you. They'll have some headache tablets. Get some fucking headache tablets. Just like stubborn as fuck. Just like you, Paul. Anyways, the rest of this rap is all about me and Keith in this life and what he was trying to do. But yeah. I do like that last bit though. Carry on repeating your history. We've met before, you see. Told you he never set his daddy